Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us this evening for this truly special event. My name is Jason Fong. I am a graduate of STS from back in 2003. I currently have two boys that are attending the school in elementary, and I currently serve in the role of the president of the STS Alumni Association. I'm incredibly honored to be a part of this important presentation this evening with Carol and to be presenting to our community this year's recipients of the Nil Nisi Optimum Notable Alumni Award. Before we do so, though, many of you know that our community teaches our students to maintain a strong sense of tradition, values, and history of our school and the land on which it sits. As such, before we begin the formal presentation, we would like to acknowledge that where our school resides today is within the boundaries of Treaty 7 territory, the ancestral and traditional territory of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Kainai, Piikani, Siksika, as well as the Tsuut'ina First Nation and Nakota First Nation. We acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit whose footsteps have marked these lands for generations. We are grateful for the traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are still with us today and those who have come before us. We recognize the land as an act of reconciliation and gratitude to those whose territory we reside on, learn on, and are visiting. Thank you all so much again for joining us this evening, and it's wonderful to see such a broad cross-section of our community with us tonight. It reminds us that we are part of a very large, strong, and closely knit community, a community that has lots to be proud of and lots to celebrate, such as the growth and development of our school over the last 49 years on our very unique campus. Throughout the years, our students have greatly benefited from the connections that we've built with our alumni who engage with us, with the school as volunteers, speech day judges, career speakers, peer mentors, donors, and much more. And tonight, it's fantastic that we are able to celebrate 3 of these amazing alumni. At this point in time, I'd like to ask Mrs. Carol Grant-Watt, head of our school, to say a few words.
Thank you, Jason. It is such a pleasure to be here tonight connecting with the alumni community and members of our community, extended near and far. Truly one of my favorite events, but I must say I am sad not to be outside sharing hot dogs, face painting, and watching my grandsons rolling around in the large hamster ball. However, I don't miss the high stress of judging the cupcake competition. That's way too much pressure. So there are some silver linings in this virtual world. One of the things that has sustained me and my family through the last few months has truly been the STS community. And I cannot tell you how my heart has been warmed by the connection of this amazing community. I simply can't believe that it gets better, but it does each and every day. And as I enter year 3, I truly feel that I'm part of this community, and my enthusiasm and excitement for our shared work is at an all-time high. Today, our students benefit from the traditions and long history started many years ago on Riverdale Avenue, 12th Avenue Southwest, and 3034 Elbow Drive. We remind our students frequently and in very tangible ways through our traditions, our activities, the wall in the rotunda, archive photos, and our motto, Nil Nisi Optimum. It is this strong foundation that has grounded us in our decision-making as we've navigated an overnight turn to online learning and then a safe return to the campus in the fall. The following fundamental principles and values and beliefs articulated as the STS values served us very well and informed our decision-making during COVID in conjunction with Alberta Health and Alberta Education Guidelines. And they are integrity, kindness, respect, responsibility, safety, and service. Living through this firsthand, our strong history has allowed us to find creative ways to say yes in a safe manner to the things that we believe are important. And I commit to you who are watching tonight that this will always remain true and that our students will always be connected to our rich history. In a little while, you're going to hear from 3 of our alumni, and you'll understand how powerful this is. The school is in the process of developing a new strategic plan, and this is my shameless plug to each of you to fill out the survey and get involved in the process of shaping the future of the school. Please know that your input is valued and appreciated, and that my door, my phone are always open, both physically and virtually, and I welcome the opportunity at any time to meet with you, to converse, to provide input, share stories, and to help keep us connected to our roots and core values as we move forward with exciting new initiatives. Also a shameless plug and something I'm very excited about. In 2021, we will as a community celebrate our 50th anniversary of STS on this beautiful campus. It is a critical milestone for our community, and I am so excited about some of our preliminary plans. You're going to hear more about those festivities and events in the near future. So I just encourage you to mark your 2022 calendar for fun, reconnection, reminiscing, and lots of cheer. As I close and before we celebrate our honorees, the true stars of the show tonight, let me share a couple of heartwarming stories that I think will resonate with you. The STS Grit and Vision saw the completion of outdoor campsites this summer as part of our fundraising campaign last year. Little did we know just over 2 years ago when we made this a passion project that it would become instrumental and key in allowing our foundational outdoor education program to proceed this fall. In fact, the only school in Alberta that was able to do that. My husband Sandy and I were able to join our grade 12 campers gathered around their campsites a couple of Fridays ago and listen to Mr. Hendricks teach an engaging lesson about hypothermia. For a moment, I could imagine that we were in Kananaskis and kids were roasting marshmallows around the campfire, indeed with masks on, learning. It seemed normal for a moment, and it all happened here on the STS campus. And in that moment and on that evening, there was no place on earth I would rather have been. Our school truly is unique, and these foundational programs, and more importantly, the amazing people who form this community really are one of a kind. Walking behind our kindergarten classes earlier that week, it was a sunny afternoon, I noticed their creative way of staying connected while physically distancing. I think those of you who are parents know that little kids need to hold hands and stay connected, and physically distancing has been hard on them. But they had a long tree branch that they were holding on to each ends that kept them apart, yet connected. And I thought there was great learning in that. This innovative, resilient, and adaptive spirit is alive and well today at STS and is embodied in the amazing people we will honor tonight. I want to thank you personally for sharing your time, talent, and treasure to mentor our students and to be the gatekeepers of our school's tradition, values, and history. Thank you humbly for the honor and privilege of serving as your head of school, and really thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining us virtually this evening. I look forward to hearing the stories as we celebrate three alumni who exemplify and live by the mission and vision of the school. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. Jason, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks so much for your remarks, Carol. Now it is my pleasure to be able to introduce to you the three newest Nil Nisi Optimum notable alumni. So Nil Nisi Optimum, or NNO as we like to call it, notable alumni, are selected from a multitude of decades of professions and have brought great honor and pride to STS. Annually, the NNO are selected by a group of alum as well as alumni faculty. This year, three more alumni who have demonstrated notable accomplishments in leadership, service, and dedication to the profession and community joins this prestigious group. I'd now like to introduce each of them as well as to share with you their notable accomplishments. The first is Dr. Alex Asmanov, class of 1986. Like so many of our graduates, Dr. Asmanov's years at STS were a springboard to the rest of his life, chasing dreams, achieving career goals, and being a leader in his field. When looking back at his journey, the foundational building blocks have STS written all over them. From his first backcountry experience that bred a 35-year love of the outdoors to the determination needed to run the 3 fields twice, to the dedication required to completing his medical school training at the University of Calgary with an internal medicine residency and gastroenterology fellowship. He continued with a subspecialty in hepatology and liver transplantation at the University of Birmingham, UK. Alex is a clinical assistant professor of medicine at the University of Calgary and has co-authored more than 30 research papers with particular interest in viral hepatitis, autoimmune liver diseases, and quality assurance in clinical outcomes. Recently, His medical expertise and training brought him into the front lines of the COVID-19 wards in Calgary, where he's proud to have be part of the courageous team navigating the unknown waters. Beyond grateful to his parents for the sacrifices that they've made to send him and his sister to STS, Alex knows that he has been afforded extraordinary opportunities. Hard work, leadership training, quality mentorship, guided risk-taking, and understanding the importance of perspective are some of the key pieces of STS infrastructure. They set up Alex for success, and in turn, will also prepare the next generation of Asmanovs that attend our school today. Alex, I'd like to invite you to say a few words.
Thank you very much for those very kind words. I'm humbled by what you say to me, and to the Alumni Association and the selection committee, thank you very much. I'm flattered to be in the presence of such esteemed current and past notable alumni. So again, thank you very much. I do compliment STS and the community on the framework of Nil Nisi Optimum. It was the motto of the school that I learned upon arriving at the school in junior high school. And it is that pursuit of excellence that I think sets the STS community apart, and one of the reasons why I have my children at the school now. The three simple words, Nil Nisi Optimum, being nothing except the best, as we all know, it embodies what society expects of me in my life now. Society expects me as a physician to get it right, and to get it right 100% of the time. And I don't think I ever could have learned that if it hadn't been instilled at me at an early age. So I'm grateful that was a lesson that I learned early on in life, rather than cruising along and just accepting the status quo. If I could indulge a little, I would dedicate the award to two groups of individuals. One is first my parents. My parents as first degree, or as first generation Canadians, and me being a first generation Canadian, high expectations are placed on a lot of kids, but especially those of immigrants. And I think they had always secretly hoped to see me walk across the stage at prize giving to receive an award, and alas, that was never to happen. But for them, and I would say that this is that moment that they had always hoped for. And similarly, for the other vast majority of students at the school and other schools who never get to walk across the stage and receive a prize giving award, I would hope that my example might serve as a reminder to many of them that not all of us get recognized in the moment for the things that we do, that many of us are late bloomers, and the work and the diligence you apply now reaps rewards later on. So again, I'm humbled by your selection of me for the award, and thank you again to the school, the community, and to the selection committee.
Thank you, Alex, for those words. Next, we have Dr. Jaspreet Kangara, class of 2003. Really, a hard worker doesn't begin to describe Jaspreet. I can tell you that from personal experience, as I sat through many classes next to her. She's an incredibly hard worker. She completed her undergraduate medical school education at the University of British Columbia, then studied as a Rhodes Scholar at the University of Oxford, completing an MSci in evidence-based healthcare and also an MSci in neuroscience. After an opportunity to travel to India as a child, Jaspreet quickly realized the school inequalities of the world. This awareness led to a career of fervency to advocate for the marginalized and vulnerable. As a medical student, she volunteered in Vancouver's downtown east side and witnessed firsthand the complex challenges faced by the low-income and homeless communities. Subsequently, as a member of the UBC's Global Health Initiative, she spent time volunteering in Nicaragua and Spiti Valley in the Indian Himalayas. As a fellow with the Jean Sauvé Scholars Foundation, she led workshops and lectures, and in addition, she researched immigration and refugee policy from the perspective of a healthcare professional. She has served on a task force appointed by the Mayor of Edmonton on poverty elimination, and currently participates with a National Expert Committee on Countering Radicalization to Violence as a non-government voice in advising the Canada Centre on Policy, Programming, and Research Priorities. Jaspreet is an emergency doctor at the Royal Alexandra Hospital and the Northeast Community Health Centre in Edmonton. Determined to be a voice for the vulnerable, she uses her position to speak up for those who are not able to do so themselves, and most recently, the voice of the homeless population facing the COVID-19 pandemic without being able to isolate. Jaspreet is a compassionate and tireless advocate, a woman of integrity, and STS is proud to call her an alumna. Jaspreet, congratulations for the award, and I'd like to invite you to say a few words as well.
Thanks very much, Jason. Those are very kind words and a really kind introduction. It really makes you think how long it's been since graduation when your classmate is now the president of the Alumni Association. For those of you who don't know, I think our year's claim to fame is that Jason and I were part of the inaugural IB class at STS many years ago. And it's been a long time since I lived in Calgary, and it was really a wonderful surprise to be remembered and recognized with such an honor by STS in this way. It's humbling just to see your name amongst such an accomplished group of STS grads and names who I certainly remember looking up to growing up. They say it takes a community to raise a child, and STS was definitely part of that community for me. I was a lifer, as we used to call it back then. I was there from grade 1 to 12 before there was a kindergarten at STS. And the school really shaped and influenced me growing up. I had so many amazing learning experiences at STS. I see Mrs. McLean's online, and from Mini Mall, where I think Jason was the business tycoon of the class, to summiting my first mountains in OE, to national speech and debate tournaments, agencies, the IB program. But part of what made those experiences so rich and meaningful were the incredible teachers who made them possible, and the friends that I made along the way, some of whom are still amongst my closest advisors and confidants. It really just was an incredible school, and I just want to give a shout out to the teachers who made STS such a special place. I think the most significant learning I took away from STS was the realization that success is determined by hard work and your contribution to those around you. I know other notable alumni have said that STS helped develop their sense of personal power, that agency to create positive change, and I really couldn't agree more. That reflects my experience of STS as well. It was a really special place to grow up, from the ravines and the teachers and the community and all the opportunities. It's a close-knit community that cares and watches out for each other and values giving back to the community. And those qualities are so needed today. And in my work now as an inner city ER physician, I continue to witness the considerable inequalities that exist in our communities and that have been made worse by this pandemic. And so I guess my hope and challenge to the STS community is that we all keep looking out for each other and continue engaging in all the amazing work, volunteerism, or philanthropy that's meaningful to us and uplifts our communities through these challenging times. And finally, I would be remiss if I didn't thank my family, who made the experience at STS possible and who've always supported me and kept me grounded. It's truly an honor to be considered amongst the notable alumni. And so thank you to the school and to the selection committee. And I hope that my work and career continues to live up to that honor.
Thanks, Jaspreet. And I know the school will certainly take up that challenge and rise to it going forward.
Always has.
All right, now who we have is Dr. Sarah Hall, class of 1995. Sarah has never been one to shy away from a challenge. During her time as an STS student, she learned to push herself, establish self-discipline, and embrace adventure, always with a caring smile as well as a caring word. Academically, Sarah completed her undergraduate degree at the University of British Columbia, then continued on to medical school at the University of Toronto, and completed her pediatric residency at McMaster University. Her medical career began in Nepal, volunteering for the Himalayan Rescue Association, practicing high-altitude medicine. Eventually returning to Calgary after a time working in a number of locations, including Peru and the Canadian Arctic, Sarah opened her pediatric practice, caring for a variety of populations across Calgary, including supporting inner-city children. Sarah has also delivered medical expertise on camera, providing TV segments on pediatric health and wellness. Accumulating experiences led her to become a clinical associate professor at the University of Calgary and part of the leadership team with the Department of Pediatrics and the Faculty of Medicine. An award-winning education leader, Sarah is also an attending physician at Alberta Children's Hospital, sitting as Deputy Head Professional Affairs of the Department of Pediatrics. Sitting on various committees of the Alberta Medical Association, she was elected in 2018 to the Executive Committee Board of Directors for a 3-year term. The opportunities granted at STS open doors to a career of helping children and families, educating young medical minds, and leading teams of experts in healthcare. As one of 3 sisters who attended the school, Sarah has deep appreciation for this experience. Quote, "We had a well-rounded education ranging from a love for the outdoors, a respect for nature, a drive for academic excellence, and a determination to make a difference," end quote. Sarah and her husband, Dr. Chris Hall, desire to instill those same fundamental values in their 3 children, Jonathan, class of 27, Matthew, class of 29, and Clara, class of 31, who will also be STS graduates one day and have a world of dreams to experience. Sarah, congratulations on this award, well deserved, and I'd like to invite you to say a few words as well.
Thank you so much for that, Jason. I'm so grateful to the educational experience and to the community of STS. I'm one of 3 sisters who graduated from STS, and it was here my sisters and I were taught we could do anything, and we were given the tools to do so. When I think of what STS has meant to me over the years, I always come back to this incredible community of people. Last winter, just before COVID, I was at the hockey rink watching my son play a game, and I had the privilege of running into my social studies teacher, Bruce Wilson. I couldn't believe he remembered me after all these years. And he isn't alone. All of our amazing teachers remember us. Thank you to the teachers who took the time to get to know me so well and to get to know all of us so well, even 25 years later. And then there are my classmates, many of whom are still my dear friends to this day. And they're so brilliant. And thinking of each of those people in my graduating class, they're all doing such exceptional things with their lives. I have 3 children who currently attend STS, and at pickup outside the elementary wing, it's a daily occurrence to run into a number of STS grads. You know, it's a good place when there are so many of us who hope to share their academic experience with their own kids. And while we all look a little different than we did back then, though I would like to hope that we look better, it's pretty awesome to think we have 30 years or even more of history together. I'm so grateful to these friendships. Thank you. But this community is so far reaching, from a corner in Nepal to downtown Toronto. When I run into a graduate of STS, we first run through our shared acquaintances, but we also have this unspoken understanding of shared values, context, and camaraderie. Thank you to my parents for finding this wonderful school and for your support through so many years of training. Thank you to Dr. Janice Hurd, who's on this call also, for supporting me in my early years of my medical career and for being such a mentor. Thank you to my husband, Chris, who's right here, and to my 3 children for their love, support, and for helping us to continue to be a part of this great community.
Thank you, Sarah. You're absolutely right. I mean, going out there and picking up the kids every day, running into, you know, other alum and running into teachers, it is a fabulous community that's it's wonderful to be a part of. And this year, you know, with COVID being changing homecoming, I'm glad to say that we've been able to attract people from across the globe, kind of like you mentioned. We've got alum all over the world, and really we kind of rise to every challenge, and we see these challenges as opportunities, and this is no different. And so congratulations again to the 3 of you, Alex, Jaspreet, and Sarah. Very well deserved the NNO award. The accomplishments of each of you will certainly be something that our future generations of students will strive for. And for Sarah, Alex, and Jaspreet, you in the future, with your kids, what we're going to do right now is we're going to virtually unveil the NNO posters, which will be in the cafeteria walls, I believe. And so now your students are going to be super embarrassed and not want to walk through the cafeteria walls because mom and dad's posters are just posted right there up there. So Brenda, if you can reveal those, that'd be great. Fantastic. Alex, you got to hide a little bit with that picture there. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you everyone so much again. This brings us to the end of our program. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and a special thank you to our head of school, Mrs. Carol Grant Watt, for joining us, as well as our NNO recipients. Thank you so much for your messages as well as your time this evening. As one last, as Carol, said at the beginning before we jumped on this call, I've got a shameless plug myself. This is, remember that this is the first day of 3 days of fun-filled virtual homecoming events. So for those of you that have not checked out the website yet for the next couple of days, there is lots still to do and to connect with alumni over the next couple of days. So please do so, and then register for the future events over the next couple of nights. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, everybody, and have a good evening.